All right, let's jump right into this. Have you ever looked at a massive data set, one of those giant spreadsheets, and just kind of assumed that a column is what it is? That its identity is totally fixed? Well, actually, a data set column doesn't come with a permanent job title. Take a column like age, for example. In one study, it might be the exact outcome you're trying to predict. In another, it's just an input. Or it could be completely excluded from a third study altogether. It really all depends on the context. So in this explainer, we're going to build a highly practical mental model for understanding these analytical data roles, pulling straight from the Data Zcience Bytes framework. We're going to skip past the abstract definitions and build a system that you can actually use in your day-to-day work. And that brings us to the core question we're tackling today. What roles do features, variables, and labels actually play in a machine learning data set? By the time we finish up here, you're going to be able to clearly explain the central ideas behind these terms, trace the main process from a question all the way to a prediction, and, probably most importantly, know exactly where to be cautious with your results. To really get this system, we've got to start with the raw material, which is the variable. A variable is simply a measured attribute that can take on different values. Just think of variables as the foundational, recorded quantities available in your data. It's the raw information you've actually managed to capture and store. So maybe it's a person's height in centimeters, a given day's peak temperature, or the exact dollar amount of a transaction. Basically, these are just the cold, hard measurements sitting right there in your database. But here's the catch. A variable doesn't just automatically get used by an algorithm. And that brings us to the feature. A feature is an input representation that's provided to a model. You see, you can't just throw a bunch of raw variables at a machine learning algorithm and hope it figures it out. Instead, you have to construct and supply specific inputs in a format that the model can actually process and learn from. Essentially, a feature is just a variable that's been carefully selected and given a very specific job in your analysis. And finally, we have the destination, the label. A label is the target value. It's the desired output that you are actively trying to train your model to predict. Now, if you take away only one thing from these definitions, make it this. The exact same column can play completely different roles in different analyses. You constantly have to ask yourself what information is entering the process, what operation is changing it, and what kind of output is coming back out. Okay, so let's look at how this plays out in practice. The mechanism follows a really strict sequence. Step 1, the question. You have to firmly define the prediction or analytical question you're trying to solve. Step 2, variables. You identify candidate variables that are legitimately available at the exact time you need to make a decision. Step 3, features. This is where you actually construct your inputs from those variables. And step 4, the label. You separate the label to make sure it doesn't leak into your inputs. Why is this specific order so absolutely crucial? Because assumptions, measurement choices, and outright errors can sneak in at literally any one of these stages. A responsible explanation of a model has to show you this entire pipeline, not just the final output. Let's ground this with a real-world scenario. Imagine we're building a model to predict whether a personal loan is going to be repaid. In this specific setup, a column like income and a column like existing debt would become our features. They're the active inputs feeding our model. Meanwhile, the historical repayment status column, that's assigned the role of the label. That is the ultimate target we want to predict for future applicants. But remember, the roles assigned to these columns are totally temporary, and they are strictly tied to answering this one specific question. So why do we obsess over separating these roles so carefully? One huge reason: to prevent leakage. Leakage happens when information that wouldn't normally be available at prediction time somehow sneaks its way into your training inputs. Think back to our loan example for a second. A data field that gets created after the loan closes, say a late fee penalty, cannot possibly be a legitimate input at the time of approval. If you include it, you're literally leaking future information into the past. The roles you assign absolutely must match the real deployment moment, not just whatever columns happen to be sitting conveniently in your historical file. And this brings us to an incredibly common misconception in the field. A lot of people assume that every measured column in a dataset should automatically become a feature. The logic is usually, hey, we have the data, we might as well use it, right? Well, definitely not. The much more accurate view is that feature inclusion is highly conditional. Whether a variable gets to be a feature depends heavily on its relevance to the problem, its actual availability at decision time, the ethical considerations around using that data, the risk of data leakage we just talked about, and of course, the intended decision. You just don't include data simply because it's technically possible.
We also have to face a critical limitation head-on here. Features can very easily encode proxies for sensitive information, or their underlying meaning can completely shift across different populations and over time. For example, a seemingly objective variable in our loan dataset might actually be acting as a subtle proxy for demographic information without us even realizing it. Now, acknowledging this doesn't make features and labels useless. Not at all. But it does define the exact boundaries for when a mathematical result deserves our complete confidence and when it absolutely requires additional evidence, rigorous testing, or human judgment.
Let's bring this all together and recap the essentials of our mental model. What are these components? Well, variables are your measured attributes. Features are the specific inputs you supply to a model, and labels are the target values used in supervised learning. How does it work? It's a strict flow. Question, then variables, then features, and finally the label. And when does all this matter? It matters whenever you need to design a robust dataset, prevent future information from leaking into your models, and clearly explain what on earth your algorithm is actually observing.
This has been a Data Science Bytes explainer. So the next time you open up a massive dataset, I want you to ask yourself, are you looking at a fixed reality or just a cast of characters waiting to be assigned their temporary analytical roles? Keep that boundary clear in your mind and you will never look at a spreadsheet the exact same way again.